take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often. Maybe never again. Flightline. And take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often. Maybe never again. Flightline.
Let's do it twice for good measure. How about that? What's up, everybody? It's Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is a special Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Yeah, so nice. You had to play it twice there. I like it. Yeah. I was ready to stop, and it went again. So then I stopped.
Or I accidentally left the loop option on. Either one. Both are possible situations. But it was good enough to play twice because it was that kind of performance. And, I texted you this morning, we don't ever, I don't know, we probably count on one hand how many times we've done a Sunday Blinkers Off and in all 573 episodes. But I texted you this morning and I was like, it just feels like one of those races that we need to jump on here and talk as fast as we can. You and I were separate yesterday. You were at the OU game. We haven't really had a chance to really talk about the performance together. So I thought, let's get on the air. Let's talk with the fans. Let's just go through it because, it's you don't want to wait till Thursday when we regularly, we do our Blinkers Off to actually talk about Flightline because that was too good a performance to wait on.
Well, I mean, I think the fact that we're on the air kind of tells you what we think of it. It was the best performance I've ever seen. And I started following racing in 2007. And maybe when we kind of talk about it, we'll give some context of what I mean by that. But, the longer you stay in the game, the more you kind of get greatness redefined for you. At the first, it's like a Curlin and Zenyatta and Rachel, and they were great. But then it's like, wow, here comes Pharaoh and Justify. And maybe they're a little better, and then you get Arrogant. And it's like, wow, that's actually what a great, like the greatest horse looks like. And then you get Yesterday. And it's like, no, that actually is what an all-time great looks like. So it's amazing how they kind of just keep topping each other as we go along. And again, I started in 2007. I'm not near well-versed enough to speak about anything before that. But since I've started following it, that was something that's just ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it.
Actually, now I have one reason why he can't win the Classic, and that is Flightline. So there you go. That's if you watched me and Magic yesterday or last night during the live stream talking about Flightline, of course, and watching it and everything, that's one thing we kept talking about, or I kept talking about. It's like, really just depends on what, as far as, I mentioned 25 to 1 on Taba on the future wagers. It's like, man, it's way too good a value because if he were to win the Pennsylvania Derby, obviously he's going to be a shorter price in the Classic. But I said it's all pending on what we see with Flightline. Well, Flightline answered the question. You don't have to worry. You don't worry about it. I frankly think any money on any other horse, value or not, is wasted money at this point.
Well, we've said it for weeks, and we've talked about it on Blinkers Off this week. It's like everything pivots on what happens in the Pacific Classic. Either he runs really well, and it's like, well, he's 2 to 5, 1 to 5 to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, or he doesn't run and well at all, and he's off the trail for the Classic completely, and he's at another race, and the whole thing changes. It's over. If he runs in the Classic, they're not going to beat him. Now, the good thing about it is if you're trying to beat him, he does have trouble staying on the track. He's missed races that he's pointed to before. Maybe this took a ton out of him and he doesn't even show up. I mean, that's possible. This is one of the very, very, very few times I would highly recommend playing a future wager. If you want to try to beat him, play the futures and don't play the day of the race, because if he's there, you're just throwing money away. But if you're betting now, everybody else's odds are inflated, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
You bet, okay, if you want to bet, I would not bet Taba with stolen money, but if you want to bet him at 25 to 1 right now, it's actually really smart to do it now versus November 5th or 4th, 5th, whatever it is, because you're getting an inflated price. And the only way you're going to win with him or any of these horses is if Flightline isn't there. Well, he might not be there, and if he's not there, Tabo's going to be like 6-1, 8-1. Now you're getting him at 25-1. That's just one example. There's all kinds of other examples, but the value to bet, if you're going to bet against him, is absolutely right now, because if he shows up, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, Life is Good is a very good example there as well. It's going to be extremely inflated because you would assume would be the favorite, if not close to the favorite of the Classic, and you're be getting a ton of value on him now after that performance. Versus that, the pool does close tomorrow, being the holiday. It closes tomorrow, so you have. I haven't checked today to see what the odds are, but yeah, I mean, Life is Good to be one that would be an inflated value right now. It'd have to be money, like you said. You talked about stolen money. It'd have to be basically that. Just let it, because you're basically hoping. And I don't think any of us would want to sit here and hope that Flightline's not going to make the race. But it's almost like a security. If you really liked Epicenter, or if you really liked Life is Good, or if you really liked Tabor, whatever it was, maybe just put a little bit money on it right now, just to have as your little saver. But obviously, all things go through Flightline, I think.
Well, for example, Flightline is 1-2 currently in the pool, right? Epicenter is 7-1, and Life is Good is 11-1. So if you want to take shots with those two horses, go ahead and do that. And if Flightline shows up, well, you've burned your money. And if he doesn't show up, then all of a sudden you've got 7-1 on Epicenter, who's probably 3-1 on the day of the race, and Life is Good is probably 2-1, and you got 11-1. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yep.
So
you guys got to go watch the reaction of me and Magic watching this race live. It's on our YouTube page. This was as raw as it gets from him and I. The reactions, I'm in awe. He's jumping around like a maniac. It was hilarious. So go watch that on our YouTube page if you haven't already. And I think we answered this question, Poison. I mean, yesterday. The real question is, will Life is Good and Flightline kill each other off? No. I mean, absolutely not. You saw even yesterday, even though that was kind of more of a cheap speed situation, Pratt was very okay with the fact of, and Flightline for that matter, was very much okay with the fact, hey, go ahead. And then when I was ready to run, I'll run. And if that's Flightline is such a smart horse, and he's running so smartly that no horse, and we see this with the greats, no horse can dictate what he's going to do.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. Like, you watched the race yesterday, and Jared, you said it perfectly. And it's funny because I kind of watch your guys' reactions, and we were thinking the same thing, and it's so dumb to think it now that you know the result. But it's like, first turn, it's like he's wide. They're not really asking him. He's like letting the other horses within range of him. And I'm like, God damn, like, what is it? What are they doing with this horse? Well,
Right.
They knew something that, we kind of, maybe we thought we knew, but not to that level. Well, it was just like, it doesn't matter what we do with him. He's going to kill them. Right. Like, it doesn't, like, we don't have to send him, and we don't have special instructions. It's just like, get him out there, let him do whatever he wants, ask him to go when you're ready for him to go, and he'll do it. And that's all it was. So no, there is no burning each other out. If Life is Good goes out there and flies, Flightline will be like, all right, and just sit right off of him. And if for some reason nobody goes, Flightline will just be like, all right, well, I guess I'll go take the lead now. Like, I don't know how you're going to mess with him. You're literally, he's a type of horse. It's just like, hopefully he doesn't show up if I'm going to try to bet against him. Right.
Yeah. And there's that's right after the finish line there. Little screenshot of I'm in awe, and literally Magic's throwing his hat around. It was just a surreal. And it was the hard thing about that was we were sitting there. We still had the Del Mar handicap to do afterwards. Breeders' Cup race. Magic leaves, because he's got a disaster going on with his kid, and so I'm like, how am I supposed? I don't even know how I'm supposed to talk because I'm in awe of what I saw. It was impossible to kind of keep the show moving because after that kind of performance, you just don't even know what to say. And like the call says, like, we may never soak it in, right? Because you may never see one like it ever again.
I can't imagine. No, I remember when Beholder won the Pacific Classic, and I thought, wow, I'll never see anything like that. Holy hell. That was just unbelievable. She just freaked on these horses. And then you look back, and it's like, yeah, he probably would have beat her by 10. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And she was unbelievable, but he was just on another planet. And yeah, I was driving. I think we were about in Tulsa, driving home from the game, and course, I'm driving. I'm trying to watch the race. My dad's in the passenger seat, and we're watching it. And he moved and took the lead. My dad goes, "Oh, there he goes." And I was like, "Yeah, that might be a little quick though. Like, cause he made the move pretty early. It's like, don't let him go don't hold him back any further." And like he started to separate. And I turned to my dad. I said, "Is he just gonna like run away from everybody?" And he's like, "Well, surely the other horses see that move, and now they're gonna come at him." And he gets to the top of the stretch. I'm like, "Oh my!" Like he may win this race by 20 lengths. Like nobody's moving, and he's not slowing down. In fact, he's getting faster. Like this is nuts. And it was just like I don't know that they saw him. Like he was so far ahead of them.
Yeah, I got a 126 buyer, which was it could have been faster, nearly broke the track record. The 126 is the second fastest figure ever. Second to Ghost Zapper, who got a 128 in 2004. But that 126 could have easily been higher. He geared him down pretty much the whole stretch, just cruised home. So, that number could have been 130 plus. With any kind of effort down the stretch, but he didn't need to. And even Pratt said today's like it looked because I didn't really like the horse. Keisha interviewed him today at Saratoga. It was like, were you worried that like he did too much, or like you were kind of they might come to you a little bit? He's like, no. Like he's like, I didn't do anything. Basically, he's like the horse just went. Like I didn't. So by the time I looked back, he's like, I was surprised how far ahead we were of everybody. So he just kind of wrapped him up after that. But that's the thing. This horse is so smart. He kind of like, all right, like go ahead. And then he's like, all right, I'm sick of doing this. I'm just going to go ahead. And that's what the moment you're like, oh shit, here we go. So let's go through it. We got a big show, all Flightline related. We're going to get into the Spinaway. We're going to look at the Spinaway, and then we're also going to, the Spinaway runs here in about, what are we at here?
We'll be about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
They just ran the
race. Yeah, the race prior just went off. So we'll talk Spinaway. We'll watch the Spinaway. We'll kind of give a reaction to that, which is the grade 1 for the 2-year-old fillies. And then tomorrow's 2-year-old Colts go in the Hopeful, the grade 1 Hopeful, which is the last day at Saratoga. So we'll talk about that race as well. But let's first get to Flightline. Let's go. All right. So we're going to bring up the screen here, and we'll kind of go through the race a little bit here I'll bring it up here in a sec. Yeah, and give us your thoughts, comments. We'll go through the race. We'll try to, kind of our thoughts during the race. Yesterday, we saw Flightline put in one of the greatest thoroughbred performances, maybe of all time, certainly of our lifetime, that we've seen. Halterman, just an incredible effort. Entry into the Breeders' Cup Classic, check. He's in. Not there's any, if there was any question marks, there certainly aren't any now. It's just get him to the race in one piece. That's the hope. And if he does, they're all running for second. I think. We made jokes yesterday. It's like how many trainers are now changing their plans? It's like, well, maybe the dirt mile makes sense now. Yeah, maybe we can go do that because I guess you could run second in the Classic. But even we'll look at the trainer comments after the race. Bob Baffert, Mandela, they're like, "Oh, like that was a race. We raced in a race within another race. Like that was just not even. This horse is a super freak." And when Bob Baffert says something like that about another horse, that he knows a little something about that. So let's bring up the race here, and we'll just kind of go through it and talk about the race on a loop here. So they break, and the big thing here was, like you said, Flavian. You kept waiting to go. Like, is he going to go? There's no rush whatsoever to get to the lead here.
No, and I watch it now, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, I don't know what they're doing. And then again, I think the announcer even says he probably needs to get over now. He can tuck in now, and they never did. Look at this. Look how wide he is. It's unreal.
Flavian said after the race he wanted to keep him wide to kind of keep him from getting any kind of pressure or field pressure to go faster earlier in the race. And I think this is probably a pretty smart move. Of course, it wouldn't make it a rain on the outside rail. It wouldn't have mattered. But, even right here, I say the Magic, I'm like, he is not on the lead as they get to the backside. And then by the time you think that, you think, oh no, what's going on? Then it's like, oh wait, never mind.
It kind of seemed like right there, he kind of just said, oh, forget this one horse. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to take the lead now.
Yeah.
And Pratt let him. He's like, okay, you can go do that, But again, he doesn't run off. I thought this was if we're going to break down what a big key is here, he didn't just run off and go crazy. And that was the big thing. Like, you look at that, it's like, okay, 110 for 6 furlongs. It's over. And then I think it races over. Look at this. This is unbelievable.
He got faster as the race went on.
Yeah.
Every fraction was faster. Like he kept cruising. The time form numbers, the numbers got higher as the race carried on, which is incredible for a horse it's incredible period, but for a horse that's going from a mile to a mile and a quarter for the first time stretching out, and the horse got faster as the race went on. It was just truly, look at this. It's as secretariat-like as you can find in our modern day of racing.
It's incredible. And the Dubai World Cup winner is in second here. It's not like I saw people go, wow, this field, give me a break. Like,
look there. That's like the longest wait ever between look at this. Look at the gallop out here.
Yeah.
It's not like the horse is gasping for the finish line. He could have gone around again. They never would have caught the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And like the Dubai World Cup winner, by the way, beat the rest of them by like 5 lengths. So it's not like he didn't fire or anything like that. Like, if Flightline's not in the race, we're talking today, it's like, wow, the Dubai World Cup winner just won the Pacific Classic by 5. Unbelievable. It's incredible. It's really just breathtaking. And like I said, when that separation starts, it's like, oh my God, he's burying them. But again, when a horse does that and it's a little early, it's like, he may hit a little bit of a wall. I think he's separated enough. He's going to win. Like, I knew he was going to win when he did that, but it's like, yeah, they may get to him a bit. Maybe he wins by 2 or 3.
Yeah.
19 3/4.
Anytime a horse does that, you tend to see, okay, he's separating. Now he's going to come back to them just a little bit. And that simply did not happen here. So,
no,
it's just, I don't know that, I just think that he maybe took a second or whatever the case, but, obviously it was his first time going 2 turns. But once this horse kind of got to this backside, he was just like, piss on this one. Like, I'm not sitting here anymore.
Yeah.
And at this point, you knew the 1 was cheap speed anyways, so it didn't really matter. You still thought, okay, look at the gap between the 5 here and the 2 and the 4 back there, that second pack. He's like, he's widening. It kept widening and widening. I kept watching Country Grammar thinking, all right, how is he going to track? Is he going to gain any ground on him here? Because right here, I see him. He's pumping on him. You're like, no, no, it ain't happening.
That little 3-second jaunt there, is it just like, that's insanity.
Look at this right here. They're almost off the screen. They are off the screen here in just a second.
It's unbelievable what he did.
Look, they're gone. They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah. I think Nick Feldman, he was there live, and his comment blew up Twitter. He said, they're dead. Yeah. It literally, I was talking to Ryan Stillman today, and he said he literally, like, sometimes we overstate sometimes, like, wow, that horse just broke another one's heart. He's like, when he made that move, they literally all were like, oh, well, forget it. We're not doing that today.
No. What was the time form number?
The time form number is the biggest I've ever seen by a good margin. 152 time form. I've seen a 140, 141 before. I've never seen a 152. That's unheard of. That's incredible. I've never seen it. I think about 141 or 142. I think Arrogant maybe had that. I don't know that for sure. But yeah, a 152 that's unheard of.
So what you've had a day, half a day to kind of digest this. You've watched the race. Most of us have watched this race about 100 times since. I know I have. How do you put this into perspective? Obviously, I don't think anyone needs to explain, listen, they're all running for second, assuming he's in the race like we talked about. But how do you put this performance in perspective? how good a horse is this? I mean, like truly in history. I mean, is he? I mean, we've been comparing him to Pharaoh. Is he better than Pharaoh?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's way better. It's odd because before Arrogate's run there, I really thought Pharaoh, Justify, Curlin, Zenyatta, Rachel, even if you wanted to get in some different divisions like Matoli or a Wise Dan, and I'm probably forgetting one or two, to be honest, but they all were in a group. And it's like, yeah, you could argue one over the other, but they all were kind of in that group of they were excellent, like Hall of Fame horses, tremendously good, but like then Arrogate happened, and it's like, okay, all those horses are there and they're great, but Arrogate's talent level was just better. It was just more, there was more to him. He could just dominate a race, he was better than California Chrome. He was better than in my opinion, a lot of Shared Belief was, or, again, I'm throwing out all these horses pre-Arrogate. It's like, they were all great. They're debatable. I had my opinions on who was best, but I would listen to other people. And then Arrogate came around and it's like, no, from 2007 to now, nobody's been better than him. This horse said, he just kind of laughed at it, in my opinion. I don't think it's close. I think he's way better than Arrogate. Well, so again, he's redefining what greatness is. And if you're in the game long enough and you let it teach you, it will teach you what a great horse is versus what a superior animal amongst the rest of them are. And he is. Nobody could do what he just did.
And I've seen a lot of comments both today in the chat and a lot of yesterday where it's like he shouldn't have done that, or like it doesn't make sense that he did that, or history tells us that that's not possible what he just did. How I could have never played him, or I never could have. That's why I was against him. And it's like, to one extent, I get it, but there's every once in a while there comes around a horse that, like I mentioned to Truth Exposed in yesterday, I was like, sometimes these good horses don't give a shit about history. They come around and you gotta know what you're seeing, and that's why you and I and John and all we didn't care. Like I knew what or at least we thought we knew what Flightline was, and that he was a super freak horse, and it didn't matter how far they went or who was in the race. Like he was in a class all on his own. And sometimes you have to just throw out history. With Justify, when he ran the Kentucky Derby, you're like, he's just better. Like you just look at him. He's just a better horse than these guys. I don't care that he's going up against history. He's just better. And he was. And sometimes you have to throw out the logics of, 99%, yeah, sure, that makes sense, because there's these horses don't come around very often. But when they do, you got to remember that.
Well, I think, again, experience in the game kind of helps you and I both, because we've been told this over and over. When Zenyatta was getting ready to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic, no, a female cannot beat the males in the Breeders' Cup Classic. It can't happen. She won. When American Pharoah won the Triple Crown, no, the breeding is terrible now, and horses aren't sound, and they don't breed for distance. And there's no way a horse will ever win the Triple Crown. Forget about it. He won the Triple Crown. Justify for the Derby. Everybody and their brother, even though these horses were favorites, everybody's telling us. So I don't know if they were betting with the same opinions. But anyway, they were telling he can't win the Triple Crown. He didn't race, or can't win the Kentucky Derby. He hadn't raced a 2-year-old, like you said. Yeah, experience tells you, yes, very much true, except for cases where horses are just special. And this is one. And that's just, like I said, experience in the game certainly ends up making a difference once you've seen this over and over. And it's like, no matter what people think logically, there are horses that can break the logic. And it's like that with any sport. There's superior athletes in any sport that can break the trends or the models or the molds. And that's the elite ones. And, this horse, I get it. Like you look at it, it's like he never raced over a mile and he barely has any foundation under him and all this stuff. And it's like, I understand. He runs too fast early. But it's like, yeah, but he's different. He's just different. And, they don't come around all that often. And when they do, you just enjoy it.
Yeah, sounds like they're going to just probably, which makes no surprise, train up to The classic with him, and Sadler's made note of this a lot. We've obviously seen it with his career. He's a 4-year-old, and he's only raced what is it? I think yesterday was his 5th time. It's just he runs so fast, so hard that you have to space him out enough, or else he will get hurt. And Sadler, that performance doesn't happen yesterday without the way that he spaced this horse. And people say, well, why didn't he run? Why did he not run in a mile in the 16th race or something before this race? Well, he didn't need to. So
they've had trouble keeping him sound. I mean, that's what it is. And again, that's why I said at the very first, look, if you don't think he's going to make the Classic, go ahead and bet this future pool right now, because you're going to get great odds, because he's in the future pool at 1-2 and he's taking all of the money. But if you don't think he's going to make it, the Classic is there for the taking once again. If he's in the race, good luck.
It's today, Rodney. There's the green flash. I don't know about if you're talking about Classic or not. The only awesome again is the last Classic winning you're in, but doesn't sound like he's going to be going towards that. But there is the green flash is today at Del Mar. It's a turf sprint winning you're in. I wanted to read a comment from Bill Mott this morning. He says, we are leaning toward the breeder. Of course, Olympiad won the Jockey Club Gold Cup, which we were right. Just totally, he looked good. He ran great. He kind of got back to it. And then this happened. You're like, well, good luck. So he's like, of course, the next question is going to be, this is from Bill Mott, what about Flightline, who ran in California? He goes, they usually run more than one horse in the race and will probably be a participant. We won 2 win in your in races, and we won at 1.25 miles. It's the end of the year with a big purse. We'll probably have a lot of interest going to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Okay. We'll probably be a participant.
Well, listen, he deserves it. And you hit it right on the head. We said it at Blinkers Off. You were like, what do you think is going to happen? Jockey Club Gold Cup. I was like, we'll probably be like, okay, that was good. Like, that horse has got a shot. And then we'll watch the Pacific Classic and we'll go, oh, shit. Like, I don't know. Listen, there's got to be at least 10 trainers out there praying that he doesn't make the Classic. Because if he doesn't, like Olympiad, he would have a shot. He obviously faced up Life Was Good 2 back, and he just didn't show up. He didn't run any kind of race whatsoever. And so, yeah, I mean, you could make a case that he could turn the tables on him. And you got Epicenter in there, and he's going to be tough. But, Olympiad could versus Epicenter. That's a toss-up, So if Flightline doesn't make it, sure, he's got a shot. If he does, then I feel bad for him. I feel bad for any horse that's going to be there to try to beat him, because I don't know how you do it.
John mentioned that if he was making the morning line for the Breeders' Cup Classic right now, he would have probably put him at like 4-5, which I know you and I talked a lot about on Blinkers Off. Like, what would his odds be? Would he be the shortest price in the Classic ever? I think we find out that Farrow was 3-5. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was 3-5. So he'd be definitely pushing that, maybe 1-2. I think is very possible. I mean, if all things stay the same, right? I don't know how he's not. And at 1-2, Halterman, that is value for him. I mean, honestly, right? Well, how's it not?
I would say it is. I mean, he's not going to face any kind of company that can run anywhere close to what he's done. All you really worry about if he makes the gate is like, is there going to be some kind of massive bounce off of that? And I mean, I worry about that even if there isn't like a bounce candidate. Like, you never know if they're going to show up or not. A stakes company, obviously they are a little bit more consistent, but anytime they break the gate, you never know. So I don't really worry about that, but I just look at the talent of the horse, and yeah, I think he's going to be like 2-5, honestly. And by the way, all the people that were mouthing John White's morning line,
I know, right?
I mean, and we tried to explain to a few people on Twitter that didn't understand what a morning line was, and they didn't want to listen or have anything to do with what we were trying to tell them, which is fine. They can go on and do whatever they want to do, but he was 1-5. He was 1-5 the whole time. I think he was 1-9, and then he went up to 1-5. He never floated past that. I mean, the morning line was spot on.
And that's the thing about, I think that if you're betting him at 1-2 right now, and it's an awful bet, because I mentioned this yesterday. It's like I would much rather sacrifice if say I didn't think he'd be 1-2. I thought he maybe even money or something, but I would much rather sacrifice some points knowing that he's in the race the day of versus playing a horse at 1-2 2 months before the race that could, or it's possible to not show up, given his history of injuries. So, well, no, I don't like playing him at 1-2 right now.
Listen, there are more bets than a win bet. Everybody freaks out when these favorites run. The pick six paid $1,600 yesterday. You got a free pass with him. You structure shit around him. You play stuff around him. If you don't like multi-races, play an exacta. And instead of betting him to win, like $100 to win, play $100 straight exacta, him over another horse. The exacta paid almost 3-1 yesterday. Listen, 3-1 on this exacta with the only two horses that had any shot to win the race. So people freak out about these 1-5 odds and complain and bitch on Twitter, short fields, all this shit. It's your own fault. All right. There was 100 ways to make money with a 1-5. You could have played $100 exacta with the two favorites straight and made almost $300 profit. So just stop and think about it and look at the probables and think of it like that. Like, yeah, you can't bet him to win, but if you played him with Olympiad on Breeders' Cup Classic Day, I bet it's going to pay 4 or 5-1, or Epicenter might be 3-1. You can still make money using him. I mean, don't freak out about it.
We could run it back with the old Flightline over Happy Saver exacta.
And it might be 10-1.
And that's not unplausible at all. At all. So, there's, like you say, the race after on the live stream, those who were watching the live stream, we got 16-1 in that exacta because we played it the right way, because we used the favorite. We used the horse I like second, and we boxed them up. You got 16-1. That's how you make money in a race that's got an 8-5 horse or even lower. You could still make money. It's insane. People just think it's nuts that you can play a horse. The horse is 1-5 or whatever.
Gafo Epicenter double paid 10-1 on Travers Day.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not betting Epicenter to even money. Fine. Pairing with somebody. Play I don't know what the exacta paid, but I think it was decent on Travers Day. You just have to get creative with your bets. You don't have to handicap a race and go, well, that horse is 1-5, but I'm going to make up 100 reasons why he's going to lose that don't make any sense. And I'm going to play this 10-1 over this 15-1, and I'm going to play a $2 exacta box. I mean, you can do that if you want, but you could try to play horses that are likely to come in and bet them correctly.
It was $940 for exacta for Buck. So you got almost 10-1, 9-1.
So you got 9 times the value with using the second choice in an exacta underneath Epicenter.
Exactly. It's
not complicated stuff. It's
you gotta grow some, and put your opinion out there. If you want to make some money with these short prizes, that's my favorite way to play. And I wanted to bring this comment because you surely are trolling. Still, truth exposed. I still think the horse to beat is Epicenter. That's hilarious.
Oh,
wow. I mean, there's some people that just can't. If that's true, there's some people that just can't. They can't understand what they're seeing.
I'm a big fan of Epicenter, but he's not the horse to beat.
He is certainly not the horse to beat. When's your next division ranking come out?
Tomorrow or Tuesday, whenever Magic gets to it. Tomorrow's a holiday, so I don't know the schedule. But yeah, classic rankings will come out. I've already submitted them. I think you have too. You just put Flightline and that's it, didn't you?
I just left them all blank other than Flightline in the first spot. I don't know what else to put. No, I ranked them. I kept it pretty similar to what I did. Because I've been ranking, you have too, but I've been ranking Flightline number 1.
Yeah.
In the classic and the NTRA poll for, I don't know, since the Met Mile, I think. After the Met Mile, when they said they were going to go for the Pacific Classic and go to the classic route, I'm like, well, he's the best horse. And that's, so until proven otherwise, that's what we do. So my rankings didn't change a whole lot. I put him first, Life is Good second, and Epicenter third. I think I jumped Olympiad back to 4th, and maybe Country Grammar 5th or something like that.
I think that's almost exactly what I had too. I have those top 4 in that same order. I know that for sure. I can't remember really once, in my opinion, once you get past number 4, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of a mishmash. I think I kept American Revolution up there like 6 or 7. Thought he ran okay, but
he had fallen out of my top 10 in my class, but I wanted to see what he did back in this race, and he's back in just because I think he's a good horse. He's definitely cut below, but a horse that he seems like he runs his race every time. So Happy Saver certainly on mine. Yep.
I've got him like 5 through 7 or 8. Yeah, something like that.
I don't remember where Happy Saver. I've got 8th. I went Flightline, Life is Good, Epicenter, Country Grammar, Olympiad, Hot Rod Charlie, Cyberknife, Happy Saver, Taba, American Revolution. That's my top 10.
I think I've got the same 10, just different order when you get to 5 through 10. But
I feel really good about the top 5, maybe top 3, certainly. Past that, you can just kind of arrange them how you want, I think. So,
yeah.
All right, we are getting close to this Spinaway. 8 minutes. I want to talk about it a little bit before we get on there. So we'll put a bow on this. Flightline wins, but I think the official number was 19 3/4, something like that. Wins the Pacific Classic, almost sets the track record. 126 buyer, a 152 time form. So we'll see. Obviously, just bubble wrap him, keep him healthy, keep him active, and hopefully we can get him to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Flightline, guys, take it in because you won't see another one like that for a while.
There's one thing you learn about Rodney. He loves Jack Christopher and he hates Epicenter. That's if you go to any comment or anything. Classic divisional rankings. Where's Jack Christopher? Well, he's not in this race. Where's Nest? Yeah, he's not in this race either. Why is Epicenter ranked? Well, he's the best 3-year-old going a mile and a quarter by far. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, he loves his horse. That's it.
He does love Jack Christopher. I love him too. That's what's sick about it. Jack Christopher.
I know you do.
Is my bet at this moment to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will beat Jackie's Warrior.
All right. The final 2 big graded stakes races for 2-year-olds at Saratoga. Today's Spinaway Stakes, grade 1, and of course tomorrow's grade 1 hopeful for the 2-year-old boys. Puts a bow on the meet, the final day being tomorrow on Monday. But the Spinaway, Halterman, we're going to talk about these 2 races. And the Spinaway is about 6 minutes to post here. So we're going to talk about the race a little bit, and then we're going to watch it. We can't show it on here. People ask this every time we do live streams. We can't legally show it, but most of you, I'm sure, have your betting platforms, or if you're watching it on FS1, you can watch it. We'll comment with you guys, and we'll watch it together and then kind of rehash what we saw. And then we'll get to the hopeful after this. So, Halterman, this is, both these races I thought were incredibly difficult. Field of 10 lines up for this one, a little bit shorter field in the hopeful. Right now, you're seeing, several kind of across the board options. Wonder Wheel, I'm kind of surprised is still that favorite at 9-5, but really you've got Just Cindy at 9-2, Aunt Shirley at 9-1. It's a huge overlay, I think. You got 7-2 on Kayleen, Naughty Gal for D-Wayne Lucas at 6-1. All this money right now is going on this 9. So, what are your thoughts of the race?
Yeah, it's really interesting race. This was one we talked about it on the morning show. It is just a wide open affair. I'm with you. I don't know why Wonder Wheel is 9-5. Not saying she can't win, just saying she's not going to be one of my bets in this spot. I'm going to go elsewhere. I like Kaling, however you like to say it, the 1 horse for Todd Pletcher. I thought this was a really, really solid debut, one of the better ones that we saw, but my goodness, you've got the options. We talked about the coach with the number 4, Naughty Gal. Lucas has won twice already today. Maybe this is the third. The horse won the Adirondack and did not run straight at all the entire stretch and still was able to win. Maybe he gets that corrected and she improves. Just Cindy won the opening stakes, the Schuylerville this year, and beat another Lucas horse that was supposed to be pretty good. Got a second timer for Bill Mott, who might improve, in the 10 American Rocket. I put the 1 on top. I went as deep as we could here. It's pretty unbelievable how wide open this thing is to me. And I would not take 9-5 on anybody in this race.
Yeah, I think this is presenting some opportunity here because the Wonder Wheel is such a short price. It's given us some value in pretty much everywhere you want to go. Even Kayleen, the horse at 7-2, I thought would maybe be bet down. I thought she would have a chance to be the favorite. Honestly, but that's not the case. With this kind of race, they're doing this for the first time, going this long, and obviously a lot of them, this is their first stakes race, and so there's just too many question marks for the field of 10 2-year-old fillies. So yeah, 9-5, I just feel like you cannot take. I like the 1 a lot, but as I'm sitting here looking at the prices, the value on the 6 for me at 12-1 is just unbelievable. Getting no action on the board, which I didn't think the horse would get a ton of action just based off of the connections and only coming in off of the 1 main special weight. But dude, like, that horse ran a sneaky good race with Irad Ortiz that day, and that number came back strong. And the horse she beat, You Glow Girl, who finished 3rd, a very distant 3rd, I believe, like 13 lengths or so, came back and dominated the next time out. You Glow Girl, so Leave No Trace, a horse that can be tactical. I think this horse has a big shot here at 12-1.
I don't disagree. I think she's a really nice filly. I'm with you, man. The price is unbelievable at 12-1. There's no question. A great price on that horse. And really, the way just Sydney won that stake, she probably shouldn't be 9-2 either. I know she was 5-1 on the morning line. I thought she'd be bet down a little bit more than this. So I thought she made sense. And again, the 10, I'll mention again, American Rocket, 9-1.
Yep.
I mean, Bill Mott second out. We've seen, a lot of times you're playing Bill Mott second out in maidens because they lost their first one, but they ran pretty well. They come back, and now you want to play him. This horse reminds me a lot of the horse that won the Saratoga Special last year for Bill Mott. Won on debut, didn't get a great number, but second out improved like the Bill Motts usually do, and was able to win a stake. So that could be the case with the 10 here. It's hard for me to talk anybody off many of these. Even if you're playing the 9, I don't think you're getting the price you want, but the 9 certainly can win.
Oh yeah. No, I love the 10. I thought the 10 would. I thought about playing the 10 as my top pick here. So we're getting close to the gate. Give us let's try to give these guys a winner here. How you play in this race, you really, if you don't want to play the 9, you can pick your choice and bet a win bet here and be just fine. Or you can play a 1-6 exacta, box them up. I don't hate that. Or even if you want to do like a 1 over 610 or something like that. I mean, the bottom line is you're going to have to get a little lucky here because your horse could run very well and get 3rd and you'd be cut off of this exacta.
Well, we talked about earlier in the show about how, you got the short favorites. Don't complain. Just bet it better. And you don't really have to do that here if you don't like the 9. Like, this is a race where you can box an exacta or try, and it makes sense because you're going to be playing prices. So listen, I've got the 1. I've got a 1-5-10 exacta box in this spot because the odds are there. I've got the favorite out of it. If it comes in, it's going to pay pretty well for a little amount. So 1-5-10 for me.
I think I would go 1. I think I'd go a 1-5-6 for me.
Even better. And we may not hit the exacta with any of these 3 horses. That's how competitive this race is. So, and Jared says 1-6-10. I mean, when you play in odds, you don't have to pound any. I mean, you can if you want, if you got a strong opinion. I'm not saying don't, but if you don't have a strong opinion, you just try to play some prices and get it there.
All right, they're looks like they're about all in here. We won't like call the race, but we'll give you an idea of what's going on here if you're not watching. So
yeah, we'll do this. This will be a good race. The break's going to be really important here, and the 1 did not break well. That's good.
One missed a break. 6.
Oh God, the 10. The 10 is a maniac.
The 10, I think, about hit the outside rail. Yeah, that's not good.
The 1 recovered.
1 is definitely back. 6 is in a great spot. They're on the outside tracking the 4. No shock there that Dwayne's horse would try to go gate to wire.
Yeah. Listen, this is a quality horse that looked like she was going to roll on that last race, the Adirondack, and totally went to the outside rail. If she does things correctly here, she could be dangerous in the spot. I like where the 1's at too.
If this 6 is good enough, they're all in trouble because this 6 has got the perfect stalking trip.
Yep.
It's gonna have to be good enough. That's the question. This
the
9 is looming up
too. I mean, you want to be in this top flight right here. This is going to get really interesting. Look at this. The 1's coming through the rail, it looks like. Yep.
Come on, 6.
Take the lead.
Come on, 6.
Now let's see if your 6 can up there.
Come on, 6.
Rail. Look at this 6.
Oh no, 9. Get back.
Come on, 6. On the 1.
Come on, 6. Come on, 6.
Got it unless the 1 re-rally. 6 has got
it. Come on, 6.
6 has got it.
A 14-1.
There it is.
Boom.
Listen, when in doubt, bet the 6-9.
Woo.
That was nice.
That was, yeah. I can't believe we got 14-1 on that horse.
Well, like you said, you pick your poison, so to speak. You're picking your odds, and you pointed out immediately. It's like, I don't have a strong opinion on any of these, but the 6 should not be 14-1. Let's play it.
No. Where did the 10 get up for 4th?
Yeah, the 10 had an eventful journey, let's call it.
Not how you draw it up.
No.
There you go, Jared.
No.
10 to win on the 6. That's not a bad profit.
Very good.
14-1. Insane.
Wow. That was a big time performance.
That's one of those things that you just get a little lucky too, because like if that horse was being bet down to 4-1 or something, I would have found that horse to be a lot less interesting.
That's just it. In these kind of big, like, okay, if you're playing, if you are super high on Wonder Wheel, it's whatever. We're gonna play Wonder Wheel because I love the horse. But when you got this, it's like, okay, I like about 5 horses. Whoa, why is that 6 14-1? Let's do it. Because your top pick was the 1, correct?
My top pick, I mentioned on the morning show, was the 1, right?
Right.
But when I looked at these, and I wrote down the 6 on the pod because I was like, I just think this horse doesn't get any action, is going to be way too much value. And I didn't know that was the thing. I didn't know how good she was. So when she turned for home, you got the really good trip with her.
You're a little concerned there, but you were right that the 6, the 9, the 1, they all sat right behind Lucas horse who quit, and they were all right there. And the 6, like I said, just went gangbusters on them.
So I mean, I don't know what you do with any of these fillies excite you as we move towards the Breeders' Cup Juvenile?
The problem with the fillies, the ones that have looked like overly good, they're injured. Like Prank, the Pletcher horse. It's like that was one you're excited about, injured and gone. I don't know. That's a good question. I think this group right now is pretty wide open. That's a nice horse. I think, I think that horse is going to move forward and at least be competitive, but their next race is going to tell the tale, right? Once they leave Saratoga and Del Mar and they stretch out a bit, that'll tell the tale for the Breeders' Cup. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I try not to take too much stock in any of these, even though it is getting late in the season. I mean, you really start to find out about these 2-year-olds as we get like a month out, really close. Who's healthy? Who's going to be, who's Bob Baffert have? That always is a key one as well. Who's he bringing there? Obviously, we've seen a bunch of 2-year-old colts anyways. So both, I guess, but definitely the colt side. debut at Del Mar here lately for Bob Baffert. And so obviously they're going to have a say. Let's talk about those colts, and let's move to tomorrow, Monday, the final day of Saratoga. The boys side, the grade 1 hopeful, race 11, 300K 2-year-olds, 7 furlongs, field of 6 lines up for this one. And you got 9-5 on Gulfport, your favorite, Asmussen Pratt. Asmussen, said, see you later, Rosario, gets Pratt aboard. And, Gulfport, you talk about an eventful trip. Gulfport had that last time out. Honestly, I went into this race like, okay, I'm trying to beat Gulfport. I'm not interested in playing him. And then the more I looked at all the horses, and then I went back and watched Gulfport, last time out in the Saratoga Special, I just thought, man, he should have won that day. And so I'm going to give it one more try. But Gulfport, are you playing him?
I went with Gulfport one more time. I thought a lot of him. And like you said, I watched that replay back. I'm like, maybe that doesn't cost him the win, but that cost him a length or two at least. And I think the jockey change really kind of tips Asmussen's hand of, I'm really pissed at Rosario for what he did to that horse, and we're going to go with Pratt here. Because if you remember, that was like a 4 or 5 horse field, and he got that horse in all kinds of trouble. I think with a better trip, he's going to be tough. I think it's a lot like this race that just happened, though, the Spinaway. I feel like the 5's got a great shot. The 6 has a great shot. The 3's not bad. The 2 was the favorite in the Sanford, bet down heavy in the Sanford. Some of these horses could kind of bounce back or take a step forward in the case of anybody but Forte. I think Gulfport gets it done, though, but I think it's competitive.
Yeah, you go back to 2 races back with the Bashford Manor. I mean, Gulfport was unbelievably good, and then regressed or had a terrible trip, a little bit of both that day with Gulfport. I mean, he's got to be better than that. And you look how fast they ran that race. That's a big thing I kept looking at. It's like, Blazing Sevens was a horse I almost put on top. I thought that horse was interesting, but it's like, ran 6 furlongs to 113. You go look at the Gulfport race; they ran 6 furlongs, 6.5 race, but ran the 6 furlongs in 110 and 4. Like this is a better horse, I feel like, and with a better trip, clean trip, I'm willing to take one more chance. And the other thing too is like you're getting 9-5 on him here, which obviously he'll be bet down a little bit, I would imagine, but this is a horse who's been sub even money his entire career so far, Gulfport. So you're getting to maybe a little more playable price on the 4 because of that effort last time out. It's to me, this is a horse that deserves one more chance.
Yep, I agree. And by the way, the horse that beat him that day is pretty darn good. That's another factor to it as well. So not the greatest trip. Maybe couldn't have beat that horse anyway. Maybe that horse that beat him is the big favorite if he's here. So a lot of reasons to kind of give him another chance. And like I said, if he kind of gets back to his best race, I think he might just be a little bit better than these. But again, it's I'm not going to be shocked. I have a little bit stronger opinion in this race than the Spinaway, but still, those horses are good. And with the 2-year-olds, second starts for a lot of them, you don't really know how they're going to progress.
I think this one's got a chance. Maybe unlike the Spinaway we just saw, this one feels like a race where there's a bunch in here that have some potential, down the road. Like Gulfport obviously very much could be a horse that is well bred. I like Mo Strike. I think he's very interesting in this race. For Brad Cox, this horse looks really good. The first 2 starts won both of them. Again, another good magic horse, Blazing Sevens. All these Forte. I mean, you go down the list; they're all big purchase price horses. They're all got well connections. So you could imagine any of these horses being horses that we see down the line into the Breeders' Cup and as 3-year-olds into the Triple Crown Trail.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I hate this day. I hate closing day, but I always do love the hopeful. So it's give and take, right? I hate that Saratoga is coming to an end. That's awful. But hey, the hopeful is always a fun race. And listen, the coach, D. Wayne, he's won this race 9 times. So Maybe Bourbon Bash wakes up for him tomorrow.
Well, I was just about to say that. I was like, well, shit, we can talk about the hopeful. We don't talk about D. Wayne. He wins the race every year, it feels like. And he's got 2 in the race. He's got 2 of the 6. So, I mean, shit. He's got a third of a chance to win this thing. And yeah, Bourbon Bash, maybe this horse, gets the job done on the front end. He obviously couldn't get it done today. Pratt obviously jumps ship and goes to Gulfport, which was like, okay. But, gets T-Gaff back, which is not terrible either.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. He's a longer price for sure. He's a little bit longer a shot to win it, but that horse did run well last time, so we'll see.
Yeah, this is a good one to watch. Halterman will watch it through the tears in his eyes as the meet ends. But the one exciting thing, Halterman, is it ends, and then we continue on towards pretty much once this ends, all the focus turns into we have the Del Mar and the charity and all that next weekend. But after that, it's like everything is focused on the Breeders' Cup.
Yep,
that's it. All because you forget while we are 2 months out, you're really just looking at 1 more month left of preps. And so that's these horses will make their final preps in these next 30 days basically. So it's all we're going to be focusing on after this. But yeah, you and I both have Gulfport to win. Tomorrow's hopeful. Make sure you guys tune in for that.
Just got a text. Albert Pujols hit a 2-run homer to win the game today for the Cardinals.
Did he?
Yeah. What year is this?
Well, what number is that for him? Was that 500?
500.
No, there was
price 695.
There was some kind of record he was going for.
Well, he's trying to get to 700.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think 500?
And he's almost going to pass A-Rod, and I think that put him in 4th. So,
gotcha. Yeah. What year is this?
He's like turned back the clock. Crazy. He is 1 behind Alex Rodriguez for 4th all time.
Wow.
So his next home run, he'll be tied for 4th. He probably will not catch the top 3 though.
I saw this crazy. This made me think of it, Jared. I won't be able to find it off the top of my head, but they were talking about Serena Williams, obviously this week in the U.S. Open and making her final, start and whatever. And they're talking about when she very first, I can't remember what it was, won her first match in a major or something like that. And they kind of listed off I think it was like Tom Brady hadn't even thrown his first pass at Michigan. LeBron James was was in high school, or there was a few other ones where it was just like it really put it into perspective how long she's been in tennis. So I thought that was just an insane stat.
That's wild.
Yeah. I know you don't think about it. I don't know for whatever reason. I mean, I know Serena's been around forever, but it didn't feel like it had been like that long,
Yeah.
And to think it, because Tom Brady, he's old, and he hadn't even thrown a pass to Michigan yet.
I mean, that she's aged better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady's kind of looking rough, dude. I don't know if you've seen him lately.
Tom Brady, yeah, dude, he's like. He's kind of like, I don't know what his deal is.
I don't either.
He's like MIA on at training camp, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know what's going on with him.
Find the stat I saw, but I cannot. Oh, here we go. When Serena won her first U.S. Open match. Greg Popovich was 106 on the all-time wins list. Tom Brady had not thrown a first Michigan TD pass. LeBron James had not made his high school debut. And Tim Duncan was the reigning NBA Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Ah.
Yeah. Those guys are old. Nuts.
Wow. That's insane.
All right, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and, of course, our premium picks as well. Just click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, we are your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you listen to all episodes of Blinkers Off. Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, everywhere you listen to podcasts, we are available. YouTube, make sure you go. If you like this video, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. If you're listening to this on the pod version, make sure you go to YouTube and follow us. And we have all these live. You can watch us when we do these, and of course, watch the live reactions and things like that. Again, go watch yesterday's. I think it's great. The first one is all of us are in awe that Rosario got Warlike Goddess beat. That was the first reaction. That was legendary. It was. I guess we should talk about that for a quick second, and then we followed that up with, of course, Flightline. How did Rosario? Would Rosario have gotten Flightline beat yesterday? You think?
No.
Even he wouldn't have done that, right?
No. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he didn't just start to move her a little bit early and get her out away from the rail and out away from horses, and then let it fall how it falls. But you got her stopped, and now she's inside. And now when she starts to make her move, the horse ahead of her has gotten away. Still almost got there. I don't know. It's just it was what it was. I don't think she was like 100% her best yesterday either. So I don't think he's 100% to blame, but she still had no business losing that race.
No, I mean, that was whenever they went so slow up front, and and then when they first kind of came around the finish line the first time there, like, he had every opportunity to get her up into a closer position, just to kind of, be a little bit closer, and he didn't. He made sure to hold her back. In fact, he held her back in the final turn, and he waited and waited and waited. And even then, thank goodness, there's a little hole there. He squeezed through just to get her going. But it was like, it was like the overconfident ride of the year, of the century, maybe. And it was just a frustrating loss for, a lot of people, us included, who maybe singled her and things like that, just because it's like, if she gets beat, she gets beat. But to literally know that she had nothing to do with that loss was rough. I
mean, again, I don't think it was like the best performance she's ever had, but she maybe had 10% to do with it, and he had 90. I'll put it like that.
Yeah,
she could have still gotten there, but it would have been a gigantic effort.
And that's what we like. I don't know if you watched that reaction too. We're like, if she wins this, she is. Yes, that's a big performance, because it's like this gave her way too much to do.
That race was halftime of the football game, and I was watching it, and I looked. I said, "That she's done. Like, she has no chance." And started to make that move. And I thought, well, maybe, but yeah, I mean. Too much to do. Way too much to do.
Lieutenant Dan, do you like this horse later?
I do. I think he'll be tough. I mean, it's obviously kind of just an obvious statement, though. I mean, off the layoff, that's a big question mark. But he's ran well off layoffs before. He's the best horse in the race. So if he fires, he should probably win that one. Yeah,
I agree. That's kind of been his MO, actually, where he fires off the layoff. That's we haven't seen this horse since getting second to Golden Pal at the Breeders' Cup. So, and this is flip it back around. It'd be kind of weird to see a horse run in the Breeders' Cup turf sprint, go out and win. The next time he runs is a win you're in for that, and then not run in that race. His next race would be that race again. So 3 starts, 2 of them the same race. That would be kind of weird, but
yeah, and that's obviously that's concerning, right? But
right.
To me, he's at that level where, like, if they're bringing him back, they're pretty confident that he's going to be ready to run. Like, there's no reason to, if not,
Right. All right, guys. We had to jump on here, for a special show. We wanted to talk about these 2 big grade 1s at Saratoga to end the meet. And then, of course, we wanted to jump on here and talk about Flightline. We'll be back on Thursday, of course, our usual time to maybe digest this a little bit more, talk about Flightline. Anything that's come up since then, and obviously preview the weekend's actions. Halterman, thanks for making time for me today. I really appreciate this.
Well, you're welcome. I always make time for the people I care about, and It took some convincing from you, but I did know. I'm kidding. It was fun. I was, because like I said, Thursday gets here. You got closing week at Del Mar. You're gonna have Kentucky Down stuff, and you're not gonna want to sit and talk about this for 30 minutes. And we should, because it's something you just don't see very often. And like like Trevor Dimon said, he's like, enjoy it. You're not gonna see it very often, if ever. So had to come on.
I agree. All right, guys. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. We'll see you next time.
And take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often. Maybe never again. Flightline.